During years, we were taught to believe that as men get older, their energy, focus, and intimate confidence inevitably fade. And when someone feels that decline, it's easy to grab onto any promise that sounds simple. Don't lose your vitality. Just retain. That idea has become popular under the label of semen retention, presented as if it were a secret switch for strength, clarity, and longevity. Today, I want to bring this back to reality, without ridicule and without fear. Because behind the trend, there are two truths at the same time. First, the male body does have rhythms that affect mood, motivation, and confidence. Second, many claims online are exaggerated, mixed with mythology or stripped of context. So in this video, I'm going to explain what science actually says, what is still uncertain, and what you can do that genuinely supports vitality in maturity. Not by obsessing over control, but by building a body that has something worth protecting: better circulation, steadier hormones, calmer stress response, stronger sleep, and a mind that feels grounded. Let's start with why this topic even pulls people in. A lot of men don't search for semen retention because they're trying to be extreme. They search because something feels off. They wake up tired even after sleeping. Their focus feels scattered. They're not as driven as they were. They notice a dip in confidence in their relationship. Or they feel like their body responds more slowly, and that creates worry, which creates more tension, which makes everything worse. And then, somewhere online, they see a message that lands right on the bruise. Your energy is leaking. It's framed like a power loss problem with one single fix. But the real issue is rarely one single thing. Most of the time, it's a stack of small drains happening at the same time. Poor sleep, high stress, less movement, ultra-processed food, a little more abdominal fat than before, more screen time, less sunlight, and sometimes a silent cardiovascular issue that has been building for years. When you put those together, the nervous system becomes more reactive, the body has less resilience, and a man's sense of vitality can feel like it's slipping through his fingers. So what happens next is predictable. A man tries to regain control. And retention sounds like control. Here's the first myth I want to break gently, but clearly. Semen is not a fuel tank that empties your life force. The male body is constantly producing sperm, and seminal fluid is made from normal nutrients and secretions, not from some rare, limited substance that you can hoard for superpowers. That does not mean ejaculation is meaningless, and it does not mean frequency has no effect on how someone feels. It means we need to be honest about what is biology, what is psychology, and what is internet storytelling. Now let's talk about what semen retention usually refers to. People use the term in different ways. For some, it simply means reducing frequency. For others, it means complete abstinence for long periods. And for others, it's attached to a whole philosophy: self-discipline, spiritual focus, mental clarity, and a sense of masculine purpose. And here's something important I want you to hear without judgment. If a man stops compulsive habits, gets more sleep, starts exercising, eats better, and feels proud of his self-control, he's going to feel better. He'll likely have more energy, more confidence, and more emotional stability. But was that because of retaining semen, or because he cleaned up the lifestyle patterns that were draining him? In most real-world cases, the improvement comes from the second part: the habit change, the structure, the reduction of compulsive stimulation, the restoration of sleep and focus, the stress reduction, the confidence boost. Retention often gets the credit, but it's acting like a symbol of a bigger transformation. So what does science say about ejaculation frequency and health? Let's separate the conversation into three areas: hormones, mood and cognition, and long-term health outcomes. First, hormones. Testosterone is often the centerpiece of retention claims. You'll hear that avoiding ejaculation builds testosterone dramatically. The reality is more modest. Testosterone fluctuates naturally throughout the day, usually higher in the morning and influenced by sleep quality, stress, body fat, and illness. Studies that have explored abstinence show that you might see short-term changes, sometimes a small peak after several days, but it's not the kind of permanent, escalating rise that online claims suggest. It's not like your levels keep climbing and climbing the longer you abstain. If you want the biggest natural influence on testosterone, the strongest levers are sleep, strength training, managing excess body fat, and reducing chronic stress. That's not as viral, but it's the truth. Second, mood and cognition. Many men report feeling more focused after abstaining. This can be real, but the mechanism is often psychological and neurological rather than hormonal. If someone is stuck in a loop of frequent stimulation, the brain's reward system can become less sensitive. Everyday life can feel dull. Motivation drops. Focus suffers. When that pattern changes, the brain can recalibrate. A man may feel more drive and clarity because he's not constantly feeding quick dopamine spikes. He's allowing attention to return to slower rewards like work, training, creativity, and connection. That benefit is not magic. It's recovery from overstimulation. But there's another side. Strict retention can also create anxiety, irritability, or obsessive thinking in some men. When the mind turns a normal body function into a test of worth, it can backfire. Instead of freedom, it creates tension. And tension is one of the fastest ways to sabotage intimate confidence and performance. So if a practice makes you calmer, more grounded, more disciplined, it may be helpful. If it makes you anxious, ashamed, or obsessed, it's not helping your health. Third, long-term health. This is where the conversation becomes more interesting because there is research on ejaculation frequency and prostate health. Some large observational studies have found associations suggesting that men who ejaculated more frequently had a lower risk of prostate cancer compared with men who ejaculated less frequently. Observational doesn't prove causation, and it doesn't mean a man should chase numbers. But it does mean that extreme claims like never ejaculating is always healthier are not supported as a universal rule. Your body is not designed for fear-based extremes. Health is usually found in balance and context. So, what do I recommend in a practical way, especially for men in maturity who want more vitality and confidence? I focus on what I call the 4 foundations that actually move the needle: circulation, nervous system, hormones, and identity. And yes, identity matters because confidence is not only physical. It's the story you tell yourself about what kind of man you are becoming. Let's begin with circulation because it's one of the most overlooked causes of declining intimate confidence with age. Healthy blood flow is not only about the heart. It affects energy, mood, and the body's ability to respond when you want it to. The same habits that improve cardiovascular health support intimate wellness: walking daily, strength training, keeping blood pressure in check, eating more fiber and colorful plants, and reducing smoking or excess alcohol. If someone wants a natural strategy, I'd rather see him build better circulation than chase a retention streak. A simple starting habit is a daily brisk walk, but not the casual kind. I mean a walk that warms you up enough to breathe deeper and feel your heart work. 20 to 30 minutes most days can shift mood, improve insulin sensitivity, and support vascular function. Add strength training 2 or 3 times per week, focusing on large muscle groups. This supports metabolic health, posture, and confidence. Men often forget that feeling strong in your body changes your mind. Now the nervous system. A lot of men interpret tension as low vitality when it's actually chronic fight or flight. In that state, the body prioritizes survival, not connection. Sleep becomes lighter. The mind becomes more reactive. And intimate confidence becomes fragile. One of the most underrated health practices is learning to downshift your nervous system on purpose. That can be as simple as a 10-minute breathing practice in the evening. Slow inhale through the nose, long exhale, relaxed jaw, shoulders down. This is not spiritual fluff. The longer exhale signals safety and supports parasympathetic activation, which is the state your body needs for recovery. Then hormones, but in the real way. I want men to stop chasing single tricks and start respecting the boring essentials. If you sleep 5 hours a night, no amount of retention will save your vitality. If your diet is mostly ultra-processed food and sugary drinks, your metabolism will drag you down. If you never train your muscles, your body will age faster. A powerful, practical nutrition shift is building a plate that supports stable blood sugar, protein at each meal, plus fiber from vegetables, beans, oats, seeds, and fruit, plus healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, or avocado. Stable blood sugar supports energy and mood. It also reduces the kind of fatigue that men often misinterpret as low testosterone. And finally, identity. This is where the semen retention conversation can be transformed into something healthy. What men often want is not simply retention. They want dignity. They want to feel in control of their impulses. They want to wake up proud of how they're living. They want to trust themselves again. And that's powerful. The healthy version of this is not, I must never release or I lose power. The healthy version is, I decide what I do with my energy and I invest it in my life. That might mean reducing compulsive habits. It might mean being more intentional. It might mean choosing connection over quick stimulation. It might mean using your regained time and mental space to train, learn, create, and build deeper relationships. That is discipline without fear. Now, let me give you a clear, grounded way to think about frequency, because people always want a number. There is no universal, perfect frequency. Your best guide is how your body and mind respond over time. If you feel depleted, foggy, or emotionally flat, look at the whole day after, not just the next hour. If you feel calm, connected, and energized, that matters too. If you notice that high frequency is tied to compulsion, sleep loss, or shame, that's a sign to shift. If you notice that strict abstinence makes you anxious and tense, that's also a sign to adjust. Health is not punishment. It's alignment. Now I want to bring in a few brief stories because I've seen patterns that repeat. One man in his late 40s told me he tried retention because he felt his motivation was gone. He made it 10 days and said he felt sharper. But when we talked, it turned out he had also stopped scrolling late at night, started walking every morning, and cut down caffeine after lunch. The sharpness wasn't magic. It was sleep, sunlight, and movement. When he understood that, he stopped fearing relapse and started building a lifestyle. Another man in his 50s described feeling more irritable and tense when he tried strict retention. He thought it meant he was weak. But what it actually showed was that he was using retention as a pressure cooker. He needed stress management, not a harder rule. Once he added strength training and a nightly wind-down routine, he found balance and his confidence improved without obsession. And then there's the man who had real physical issues and tried to solve them with retention alone. He delayed checking his blood pressure and cholesterol because he thought discipline was the answer. When he finally got evaluated, he discovered his circulation was the true issue. After addressing his cardiovascular health, he felt better in every domain. Those stories all point to the same lesson. Trends are rarely the whole answer. Your body is a system. So here's the truth about semen retention and health in one clear message. Reducing compulsive stimulation can improve focus, mood, and confidence, and that is real. But the benefits are mostly driven by nervous system recovery, better habits, and improved self-respect, not by storing a magical substance. Extreme retention is not automatically healthier, and for some men it can increase anxiety or shame. The most reliable path to vitality and maturity is building circulation, sleep, strength, stress resilience, and intentional connection. Now, if you want a practical approach starting today, I'll offer a simple 7-day reset that doesn't require extremes. For 1 week, prioritize sleep like it's your medicine. Go to bed at a consistent time. Keep screens away in the last hour. Get morning light in your eyes for 5 to 10 minutes. Move your body daily with a brisk walk. Do 2 sessions of strength training if you can. Eat protein and fiber at each meal. And if you want to experiment, reduce frequency simply to break compulsion, not to chase a superstition. At the end of 7 days, ask yourself one question. Do I feel more stable in my energy, more clear in my mind, and more confident in myself? That's the metric. Not streaks, not guilt, not mythology. If your goal is intimate wellness, remember this. The body responds best when it feels safe, supported, and well-conditioned. Blood flow, nervous system calm, and emotional security do far more than fear-driven rules. If your goal is longevity, the same is true. Longevity comes from daily behaviors that reduce inflammation, protect the heart, and maintain muscle and metabolic health. And if your goal is confidence in your relationship, the greatest gift is presence. Not perfection, presence. Being able to relax, communicate, and show up with steadiness. Let me end with a single sentence that I want to stay with you. Vitality isn't something you hoard, it's something you build. No matter your age, it's not too late to restore energy, strengthen your body, and recover that calm confidence that makes life feel vivid again. If this video helped you see the topic with more clarity, I invite you to reflect on what part of your life is asking for balance right now. You can share your experience in the comments in a respectful way because many men feel alone in this and they don't have to. And if you want more content on healthy habits for vitality and maturity, circulation, and confidence, you can subscribe and stay close.